Hello, duckies and dice fiends. Welcome on in. I am Kay. I am basically propped up. I am a very tired Damphir, but I'm here today with a very aggressive little Gilmore. We'll see if he shows up on camera. But I'm the only one who's here. David, who the heck is you? And what the heck is we doing here while I mute to cough?
Hi. Welcome. I am David. Hi. Welcome to the Chaotic Wholesome Presents PAX U recap show of talking. The Chaotic Wholesome Presents Tuesday table talk show, where every week we talk about TTRPG stuff, how to be a better player, how to be a better GM, how to be a better person, how to avoid con crud if it is at all possible to avoid con crud.
And my caption should be behaving now.
All with a focus on intersectionality and inclusion so that everybody can have a good time.
Thank you for the heads up on the captions. Sometimes it gets a little bit grumpy. So hello, I am Kay. I am also here to do that talking, though maybe not as eloquently today. I just survived PAX Unplugged. It was wonderful. It was awesome. It is the best PAX Unplugged I have been to in 3 years because I got to go with amazing people and then see even more amazing people, such as Rex and Matt, Mimics and Misfits, who were hanging out in chat. And I missed my cats, and I came home with I've tested negative on 2 COVID tests so far, throughout both at the con and when I was here. However, pretty sure I have a sinus infection. But I'm one of those people where I blink and I get one. Unless I go rapidly downhill tomorrow, I'm going to be playing in the circus game tomorrow at 6 o'clock over at Goblin Cave TV. And then potentially streaming Thursday, again, unless this gets worse and I have absolutely no voice. David, do you know what you're streaming this week?
More Disco Elysium, unless something really catches me between now and then, but Disco Elysium.
Amazing. And yes, that is kind of what we have. Forgive me, y'all. I am not as eloquent. I was on 2 panels, one of which was streamed. My brain is. But as a reminder, save the date, December 17th. I am working on getting this announcement together ASAP. But you know, cons get in the way. So I sound like a lich and will for a few days, says Rex. Ooh. Yeah. Mimic says Concurrent got us all. Silverlight Prime, welcome on in. Frazzled Brains, and understandable. Yes, that's I thank you for being understanding. So we are here to talk about what the heck went on at PAX Unplugged, how it went, what we thought. Poor David didn't get to go. David had to hold down the fort.
Yep.
But I have stuff to show off. I have stories to share. And we'll see how long we go tonight because I haven't spoken this much all day. I literally was like, all my meetings are in text today. So we'll see how long this holds out. So David, since my brain is basically the equivalent of bright pink mashed potatoes, tell me what you want to know. Deadeye, welcome on in. That is, are you comfortable with my sharing your real name? I don't want to do it if you don't want me to do it, but I know who that is.
I am under the opinion that you should share every second of every day that you spent away from your cats.
Well,
because they need to know. Yeah, start with what PAX Unplugged is.
PAX Unplugged. PAX Unplugged is a glorious gathering of dice rolling nerds. PAX Unplugged, you've heard of PAX East, and you've heard of PAX West, and once upon a time, you may have heard of PAX South. RIP. PAX Unplugged takes place in Philadelphia, and it is the tabletop version of the PAXs. And yes, so Deadeye hanging out in the chat is Richard, whom you can find on the Emergency Power podcast, and was one of my con buddies while we were there. Richard and I had a connection before, but Cats in a Cradle, do we have one now? So basically, again, think PAX, only it's all dice and maps and digital music and unplugged, so like no software. Exactly. You unplug and you play the game. Hello, Finny Ben. How are you doing? Thank you for the lurk. So yes, I'm in New York, so myself and Cake Teas hopped a train and went up to Philly. We met up with Salty Queer, who you often see hanging out in chat as a mod. And we met up with 3 members of the emergency power crew, including Richard, Leslie, who you see, Cheese and Krakens hanging out in chat often, and Adam, our GM for the Emergency Power Podcast. We handed out a metric ton of these because I play games with really incredibly freaking cool people who made trading cards of our characters, including bios and stat blocks on the back, and those were very much a hit. And also I sent out little, hey Ribbonanza, welcome on in. So one of the big reasons, hey Leslie, speak of the devil. One of the other things, actually, David, talk for a second. Entertain us. Do your speech. Mojo Jojo.
The audacity. I don't know if Kay has wandered off to the baño, which I have done on many occasions. But no, for one, it is
A slander.
Great to see everybody here. I'm really glad that all y'all joined us today. Yeah, it was probably a cat emergency.
I ran off to grab one of these, which is what we handed out. I had 100 of these little goodie bags, y'all. This is the only one I came home with.
Wow.
The literal only one. I came home with one of these and 3 of the fidget toys things. So yes, I am a big believer that especially when you are marketing at a convention, people don't, their hands are full, they're trying to look at stuff, they don't want a billion bags unless it's something they really, really want. So handing people stuff that they don't want, people don't want to take it. So I'm a big believer in keep your marketing materials small and keep them useful. So that is what we did. We came up with little goodie bags that have 2 mini suckers because everyone needs a little sugar kick, a throat lozenge because, as you can hear, a D20 because everyone likes D20s. And then we did our little cards, which have a QR code to our site, and little fidget toys. And y'all, people love the fidget toys. I expected a couple people to be like, oh, I like the bag, but I don't really need this. But the number of people who were like, this is changing my convention. I was on a panel with Katiosaurus, and I gave her one. And she just sat the entire time. She was like folding it in half. And I gave one to Holly Conrad, and she's like, I use these to paint minis. I put mini paint in these.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it was great. Like, feel free to steal. I expect next year to see many more mini goodie bags and many more trading cards. Like, they were such a hit. The number of people, Leslie got little plastic sleeves so they could just hand out 6 cards in a pack. And correct me if I'm wrong, Leslie, I swear 90% of people immediately opened the pack and went through the cards. It wasn't like, oh, cool, thanks, I'll look at this later. Like, they were like, this is so cool. So I did a dangerous thing this year. I merged 2 sets of friends.
Yeah, I would never. No, I would never.
I mean, I merged 2 sets. I introduced you to my friend Novel Strumpet.
Yep. Yeah, you've done
wasn't
it
even there
multiple
for that.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, we'll see how this goes. But I am so incredibly fortunate that my friends group just immediately clicked. Like, yes, I absolutely crossed the streams and it did not divide by 0, and it was great. So speaking of friends, sweet Leslie bought me a couple con goodies to remember I had met Leslie before. When I was still in Manhattan, Leslie came into Manhattan and we got to spend a couple hours together just hanging out. They were in town for a wedding, but we got to spend days this time. And Leslie has just had the most incredible glow up since we last met. So it was just so much fun getting to hang out with the more themself Leslie. It was just the best thing. And look, this is official PAX Unplugged merch.
Penny,
it is a
Penny Arcade. I
Penny
see what
Arcade.
They did.
So this is the non-binary potion. This is the asexual potion. This is the pansexual, and this is just a bag of fucking rainbows. Because who doesn't need a bag of fucking rainbows? So Leslie treated me to this, and then also I have it here because my Christmas tree isn't here yet. Leslie bought me the kindest thing they could give me.
Ha ha ha! That is awesome. That is crazy.
My friends think I'm chaotic nice. And 1,000 thanks and a 1,000 thank yous and all of the love to everyone who put up with me, because I was definitely in con mode and merging two friends and trying to make sure that all my friends met important people. I was in extra con mode. I was at an 11 for about 2 days. To show you, I have not yet. We literally just started. So here was the other thing. So Gabe Hicks, an incredible GM, my second streamed GM ever, for a Team Liquid charity stream for Pride Month. Hold on. Yeah, don't trust Ducky. We don't trust Ducky. There's no quacks happening. Oh, we need a quack redeem.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we need that, and we need the psychic damage one. I will make a note.
So he quacks me up every stream. I love you, Rex. So, God, months and or about a year ago now, I don't remember. Time is a weird soup. I backed their Kickstarter for, they have a company called Mythic Grove, and they came out with the Session Zero system, which is like tarot cards, but for Session Zero character building. And it helps you build bonds between different players as well as backgrounds in the world. It is a beautiful system. It is highly flexible. And they had 1,000 editions of both the books and the tarot cards at the convention before they shipped the Kickstarter ones, because they were trying to figure out how they could fulfill the Kickstarter ones at the convention. But y'all, do not there's that it's too much. It's too much. So I went to, and let me be clear, Gabe and I go decently far back, and I adore Gabe, and Gabe knows that I am a sassy bench. And I was like, Gabe, I was gonna ask you to sign my book, but I don't have one. So I'm just gonna have to track you down next convention. And Gabe's like, you want a book? I'll give you a book right now. And I'm like, no, I am paying you for books, Gabe. I support your small business people, right? Like, just because someone had a wildly successful Kickstarter does not mean
that they don't need
they
the
are
support.
a big business and they don't need the support. So I'm like, no, Gabe, I like you and I respect you and I want to support you financially. And then Leslie turned around and, they both Gabe and Elise, who is their business partner, were at the booth, and they were both explaining it to us. And the cards, God, the tarot cards, David, are so beautiful. Full color front and back. One artist did the entire thing.
Ooh, good.
And there are silvered edges on the tarot cards. They are gorgeous. Leslie buys the book and gets both Gabe and Elise to sign it, and then gives me their book and says, just give me the unsigned one when your Kickstarter one comes in, because Leslie is the best. So
Leslie
here are
is the
some,
best.
so this art book shows huge oversized portraits as well as what those things mean. And it's just gorgeous. And then Leslie is a genius. Don't ever heck with Leslie. Leslie starts talking to Gabe and Elise and is like, what's your favorite card out of the deck? And they each pull it out. And Leslie's like, I want you to sign that one. Hey, crew, welcome in.
Ooh.
So, yes, Leslie is a genius.
That's really good. That's really good.
It supports 1 to 10 players. It takes 30 minutes to 2 hours. Ages 14 plus, because, TTRPGs can get a little bit spicy. And yes, so there's a little bit of an expansion in this to some of the lore that's in the booklets that come with it. So, I, for one, need both. And
I will say, If I am ever at a table with 9 other people and we're all trying to play the same game, I'm just going to flip the table over.
Hey, Facean, welcome in. Is that Gabe, as in Jim Dark Magic of the New Hampshire Dark Magic, or another Gabe Hicks, who is a force in TTRPG, a chaos gremlin in the best way. And Leslie, I would like to ask, if you don't mind, since David and I are two sides of the same coin. This has nothing to do with the book. I'm actually backtracking because I forgot, because my brain is, this came for me, which is absolutely me, but it came with another ornament, which I think is far more David than me. So Leslie, I would like to ask if you would mind if I regifted or forwarded a gift from you to David for the other one, because I think it is very much David. Lawful
Fair.
naughty.
Fair.
Excellent. Perfect.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That feels incredibly David. I'm also going to pause for just a second talking about a PAX stuff, because when I came home, something else. I entered a giveaway from Talon and Claw. Thank you, Talon and Claw. And I won a gift card. And I did not expect to. And I certainly did not expect my order that I made on the way to the train station to arrive by the time I got back. But this chonker appeared when I got here. And you know what's special about this chonker, David? It's made out of buffalo bone.
Wow.
This is a solid bone D20. And for anyone wondering, it is a chonker.
Yeah. The further I delve into TTRPGs,
Hey, Logar.
The more I'm like, my favorite things is big fuck off D20s. Like,
speaking of, okay, so this is a nice big fuck off D20. It got bigger.
Right, that one.
This, I found, we ended up, Lady Luna, Rex, and someone else. You tagged in someone else, Rex, and my brain is just mush and I cannot remember. But it was from a booth called Foam Brain, and they must have had a con special. Yes, Silver Lion. They must have had a con special, because these were $25 on the website, but I got this one for $12.
Wow.
Yeah. That girl with honey. Thank you. I didn't see her this year. I feel like I blinked and the con was over, and I met so many great people and did not meet so many others. And then as we're continuing this, Leslie and I stood in line, and Leslie got to experience the joys of a Pokemon card game for the first time, to get a little Quaxley. We all know my obsession with Pokemon. Here's the thing. Tyranthosaurus, who is truly incredible. I once had a D20 about fist-sized. Yep, that. Tyranthosaurus went to all the other PAXs and got me the other 3 starters. So now I have all the starters for this generation, because Tyran is a true homie. Get you a homie like Tyran. And everyone else in this chat, like, holy cats, y'all. Everyone in this chat is amazing. My only D20 is the oversized pure metal one from Baldur's Gate 3. The Zycrap. I have a giant plush light up LED D20 coming.
Awesome.
It was an impulse buy on Kickstarter that I don't regret. So, backing up briefly, you know how I said our marketing materials, I specifically designed them to be useful? I was in line for t-shirts with Deadeye, with Richard. And we get up to the front, and Richard's like, how much are the t-shirts? And the poor woman working the booth is like, and shouts, 25 each, 4 for blah, 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 6 for blah, blah, blah. And her poor voice, because, your voice goes real quick there. And so, solid dude, I speak Gen X Metalhead as my native language. I love it. So as she's like gathering Richard's order, hey, Candace, welcome on in. Yes, Kate loved that toy. I think I saved a lot of neurodivergent homies at the convention. So as the woman is gathering up all of our stuff, I just lean over and I'm like, I don't even pull out the bag. I just had a bag of throat lozenges. And I'm like, do you want a throat lozenge? And she like looks at the bag and looks at me. and her entire face lights up. And I dump 3 of them into her palm. And she grabs a basket of hard enamel pins and is like, do you want a pin? Please take one. So I got me in video games. I might need this later.
Right.
Because this is me. I'm being called out. Most of you know, I have a pin problem. Hi, I typoed in excitement. That happens. I know, Candace. Candace. I went to say goodbye to Candace, but here's the thing: Candace is a beast and was in 4 panels, all of which were incredible, all of which were great. And I wanted to go say goodbye to Candace, but their panel had ended. They had left the room, and they had people lined up to ask them questions because Candace is incredible. So I'm like, they don't see. Candace knows, and I ran away because I apologized to Candace later for not being able to say goodbye, but also I don't want to interrupt, the awesome work Candace is doing. Candace is like, it's goodbye for now. And I'm like, yes, good. Kay is an Irish goober. Okay, well, and then let's see. One of the things I blubbered all over them. Well, I straight up didn't want to interrupt your stuff. Today I learned that barter is alive and well at PAX. Going to bring other stuff to barter with next time. If it's stuff that people want and need, they will appreciate it. Like that is seriously. So the reason I learned to do marketing this way is I used to work San Diego Comic-Con all the time. And I worked it for DeviantArt. Hi, y'all. I used to work for DeviantArt, newbies. If you don't know this, I was the lead moderator and community manager there for 17 years.
Yikes. Pain. Suffering.
Yep.
Suffering.
Yep. And so one of the things we did is we sponsored Artist Alley. So we had a booth in Artist Alley at Comic-Con. So I would go and do Comic-Con, and then I would also hand out, my own stuff. Because at the time I was running a fandom cocktail blog and trying to just grow my reputation online in fandom. And I would see people, be given a thing, walk a couple steps and drop it or chuck it or, So what I started doing was I started taking drink recipes. I would make little cards, only a little bit bigger than a business card. I would do a cute graphic on the front and I would do the recipe on the back. And I just handed out, if I saw a Zelda cosplayer, they got a Zelda one, right? Like it was.
That's cool.
People would like be walking by, take it, look at it, turn around and come back and be like, I had one woman come up and be like, thank you. I can use this. I can actually use this. That was when I went, this is how you market. So that was part of how I learned to market. Speaking of marketing, David, look what I got. My enamel pen problem?
Oh, yeah.
Mimics and Misfits.
Worse. Yeah.
Mimics and Misfits made adorableness. And now it's mine. This mimic lives with me. And Matt was doing giveaways where he had a pouch and it had this inside it and some dice. And if you checked it, 1 bag per day had a token in it. And Leslie got the token for the first day and was tracked down and got was that hand engraved? Because it looked hand carved, Matt. Mimics and Misfits journal, like to keep track of your like character.
Oh, that's cool.
Things in. One I keep always is bottle openers, also very useful. Yes, Mimics and Misfit had great stuff. And then my friend Sweet Rosie B, who played with me in the Girl by Moonlight game, had stickers, and she designed both of them herself, and they're so cute and so pretty. I walked away with a lot of stuff, y'all.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a problem. One of the things that I did, Candace was on 4 panels. They were incredible. Candace, you're going to have to help me remember Candace because my brain is garbage. You had Fight Me, You Cowards, Now Kiss. Romance and TTRPGs. Had Building a Better Session 0. Was on Tales from the Tavern with me, Gamer Mom Luna, and I got to meet again and got to be on that panel. And you had another Candace, and it's completely. I'm so sorry. It's just gone. It's. I suck.
Hand burned into the leather cover and then painted with a bronze. Wowzers.
So cool. They looked so good. Tabletop, role-playing, gaze. So Candace had all the panels. I had two. I had Tales from the Tavern. And then my friend Anya, who if you went to, had to celebrate 3 years, well, absolutely you did. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Welcome on back. If you went to the Oops All Himbos, my very good friend Anya and her partner Matt, who is an incredible musician and my cat sitter, were there and played a musical number before the Oops All Himbos, which was adorable. And it's also Anya's birthday, so go wish her a happy birthday. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, Anya, as a joke, hee hee ha ha, pitched a double toil and trouble tarot cards and TTRPG panel. And not only was accepted, it was put on the Mothman, which none of us were prepared for. We talk about how adorable.
Which
oh my goodness!
I have a link to.
Yes. I forgot to grab a thing. Talk, David, please, and think.
So in chat, someone on the Discord, I think someone in chat, and I should go click on that and find out. But someone graciously linked me the VOD of Kay's panel, which I'm only partway through because
I went and watched it back and I didn't entirely hate it. So that's progress. So for Tales from the Tavern, normally it's a 2-hour stream, but we only had an hour at PAX. So Luna had to figure out a creative way to decide who was answering the questions. One of the Penny Arcade Mons very kindly breaks up all the VODs for easy viewing. Yes, there is a broken up VOD somewhere. Yes, it was really good. So Luna pulls out these cute little dice, right? And like blue and yellow is blue is my color.
it was Leslie who posted
Leslie.
it for me.
Y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Luna made custom dice for each of us. So mine were stars with that. So like the stars for soul, I didn't even think of that, Candace. I'm gonna cry now. Oh my god. Ermagirds. Yeah, so the number of people who were really excited by that panel, I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I'm so happy it made you interested, Finny, because like it's a really cool thing and it's something I've really fallen into and I really adore it. And oh, I can't read your comment, Richard, because you're gonna make me blush. So
as I told Kay, I have been to pagan metaphysical conventions, and the tarot panel they did with Anya and Jess was as good or better than similar panels I have seen at those events. Boom.
So, partially to celebrate that because it was a really great panel. I felt really good walking off it. I'm just a little bit neurospicy, and sometimes I get off of a show or a game or a panel and I'm happy for about an hour, and then I descend into like crippling self-doubt and second guessing every single thing I've ever said or thought. And that didn't happen. So like that was good. I was worried I talked too much. That was my biggest fear. Is like, did I take up more space than I was supposed to? Oh, thank you, Candace. We did a live audience reading. It was really cool. We had 2 different people with 2 different decks go out and have 6 total different audience members draw cards. And the readings were eerily similar. It was all about letting go, getting out of your own way, and moving forward with whatever you're doing. And in fact, one gentleman, I don't know their pronouns. So one individual that I pulled from, I saw them leaving, like they pulled the future card for my pull. And I saw them leaving the convention, and I ran up to them because I'd forgotten to ask everyone's names. And I gave them a little bag. And they were like, I want you to know, I was actually crying in the audience because that reading was so powerful and it answered a lot of things that I'd been struggling with. And I'm like, so a lot of the people in chat know how bad my rolls often are. I have a large collection of pins that show D20s having rolled a 1. Because, yes. So I bought myself a little commemorative tarot pin that is the death card that shows a 1 on a D20. Because this is all of my things. And then I'm really happy I bought myself this, and Jess also got it. And then we pooled together to buy a first tarot deck for another person in our group. We bought the coolest tarot deck, y'all.
That is cool as shit.
Look. Therapists who know tarot and TTRPG terrify me. I cannot be read that quickly. I am not comfortable with someone being able to just immediately look through me. Again, why I need to get back into therapy. However, so it is a beholder with surveillance cameras for eyes.
Perfect.
And it is neon, cyberpunk. And this thing I'm about to say means very little to a lot of people in this chat, but someday it will. One of the I'll say one thing that is relatable and one thing that is not so relatable. The Chariot card is very Akira. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Oh, this is the 5 of Wands is conflict. And instead of like standing and fighting on a hill, they're playing a video game. Oh, goodness. This card wanted to be shown. This card, the Chariot, is so Akira.
Yep. That
and
is
also,
the Akira slide.
It is so Nico.
Absolutely.
That will mean something to most of you someday if you stick around. So yes, it is such a cool deck, and the King of Wands shows the King of Wands shows a femme-coded character. So it's just look at the sun card.
Wow.
Like it's just so neon.
That looks like
so cool.
a Monster Hunter boss.
Yeah, like it's such a cool deck. And that's by Weird Works. They got a lot from us. Hello, D2 the Rock. Welcome on in.
Tetsu.
So then we got to check out the very tail end of the Starfinder Advanced. Starfinder 2E Advanced. I forgot. I forgot exactly what they're calling it. Leslie will be able to fix me. We got to check out the tail end of the play with that, with people from The Atomless and from No Quest for the Wicked. And we also got to meet, it's not Kristen, it's not Julia, just 2E. Okay, Starfinder 2E. We got to meet one of the incredible people who works at Paizo. And she set us up a little Skittermander pins. And this is from the Skittermander free TTRPG Day adventures that Leslie played us through. Leslie jammed us. Jenny, thank you. Y'all, my brain is just not good. And then our friends at Eldritch Foundry. And then I'm going to show you the last thing that I have to show you. Because while we were there, Jess introduced us to a 2-page TTRPG adventure called Goblin with a Fat Ass. And you roll for ass. And Leslie's character, and you roll for like how you got the ass. And then you roll for class to see what you can do with your ass. And Leslie's character stole my character's ass. I have no ass. And Leslie's ass size is quite literally, oh no.
Perfect.
I mean, that's my thing. I am already a goblin with a fat ass. And then I rolled my thing, and it's like, I rolled an 8, which is actually a 0. And I'm like, that's not okay. I have quite the booty. And then as Leslie was rolling, and Leslie was just, oh no. And then we were rolling for how you got the ass, and mine was like a tragic accident at Goblin Wizarding School. And Leslie's was like, you worked for it. So Leslie sabotaged my work at Goblin Wizarding School and stole my ass. Yes, you're an assassin. And yes, that was incredible. So I didn't actually get to go talk to my friends at 1985 Games, because I blinked and this convention was over. But
Oh, goblin is my safe word. That is really
So-
good.
Salty Queer bought one of these for each of our crew. So yes, I walked away with a lot of stuff. I was very proud of myself because halfway through day 2, I had bought almost nothing, and then that ended. And hello, Mallory. Welcome on in. Yes, I love the pin. So like I had taken a picture of it and been like, everyone look at this. And then when we played Goblin with a Fat Ass, it was like, well. And apparently, this was my favorite part, is Emily broke away from us, ran off to do shopping secretly and silently on her own, comes back with one of these for each of us, and apparently had gone up to the vendor and been like, I need 6 Goblin is my safe word and 1 of the cat pins. And the guy like looks at her. It's Sunday afternoon, and he's like, blink, 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 blink. Thank you for placing the best order we've ever had. So I also got to meet the incredible Moxie while I was there. I didn't get to spend nearly as much time with anyone as I wanted to. I'm gonna cough. Hold on. Where is my stylus? I don't want to cough at you all.
I move my mouth away from the microphone to breathe.
Oh, and then I forgot. Jess bought us all goblin or a snail dice, and so they're the derpiest little snails, and they hold a dice.
Oh, that's cool.
They're so cute, and they so derp. Look at the face. Look at the face.
I mean, that is a mood.
So, oh, gods, I keep thinking I'm done. I got the chonkiest dice that ever did dice chonk.
I did see that. I was like, oh man, that is the most on-brand die.
It's squishy, so it's not gonna like kill you.
Oh,
Yes.
you could like bean somebody with it. That's fantastic. That has ballistic potential.
Trying to see if there's anything else I forgot. But no, I think so that was incredible. We spent a lot of time like looking for goodies for each other. And your snail die is holding the D20 from the set I got from Mimics and Misfits, Matt. Oh, hey, Jason, how are you? So, yes, and I got to connect with obviously Candace, but also 2 other really important people this month, Holly Conrad and Cadiosaurus. And gee, I don't know why connecting with them would be important, but maybe save the date for December 17th.
Yep.
Maybe. So.
And before Kay goes on, I would like to point out that all of this is possible because of you guys, our audience. Like, all of you have supported us in an array of ways, and we really appreciate it.
Genuinely, I am a decently resilient person, but I also require some positive feedback. And if you all were not here, I wouldn't be. I can tell you that right now. I'm not going to say that I didn't spend, and David will confirm, months and months streaming to empty chats or chats of 1 or 2 people. And that was fine. But with all of y'all here, it's so much better. So I missed, Kira's was there and I completely missed them. I saw Tyran once. Tyran and I had an appointment to meet up. We almost didn't find each other. I think I saw Rex. Did I see you once or twice? I don't remember. I know you bounced to a bar and then came back. But that was a thing. I met, and again, so many streamers that I admire. So for those of you who have watched Dimension 20, Court of Fae and Flowers, I got to meet Omar. We were hanging out, having drinks at the Marriott, and Omar was there. And for those of you who don't know, Omar played an asexual character in A Court of Fae and Flowers. Now, let me be clear. This is a Jane Austen romance-based TTRPG. And he came in playing an asexual character. And they were I don't know what kind. They were romantic, but they were not sexual. And they ended up having a romance line. And it was not like the focus of, well, what happens now, right? It was just part of this character, right? And it was not focused on, it was not a big deal. And so I approached him like with that, like, I want to say hi, I want to say thank you. I was wearing the asexual D20 pin that David gave me. And, you know, immediately saw that and he lit up. We're going to watch this. It's going to go into orbit. It's going to go into orbit. Maybe not.
There he goes. Boom.
Yes, the ace that likes companionship. If you have not seen A Court of Fey and Flowers, it is incredible. So I went up to Omar and I'm like, you know, it did my baby ace heart so good, you know, to see that kind of representation. And I generally expect to kind of say my piece and kind of bounce away. Omar's like, starts telling me stories. Omar's like, oh, while I was there, we were in character creation and I blurted out that I wanted my character to be asexual. And then I immediately felt like embarrassed. And I was like, oh, I should have taken it back. I shouldn't have done that. And it ended up being such a great thing. And so like verifying is not the word. But received so much great feedback. And I'm like, no, it meant so much to me. So thank you. And then I turn around and Iffy Wadaway is there. And so Jess, Cake Tease, and I are like, hi, Iffy. You're funny. We're fans. Validation, that's the word. Omar is so wonderful. And so I can talk about it now because the thing went up. But Iffy was like, I can't tell you much about it, but there's going to be a trailer coming out where I look like this, and showed us their makeup from very important persons. And was just a genuine pleasure. Showed Jess. I had, was just a truly genuine pleasure. So I've seen a little bit of discourse about this, and like, I've said this a couple times. Yes, he just dropped from the ceiling. I try very hard to make sure I know where I am in terms of relationships and potential parasocial relationships. I try very hard to remember, you know, as we say all the time, no one owes me their time. No one owes me anything. I will reach out to people, and if they don't reply, I don't take it personally because their time is valuable. And if they do reply and they do want to play games with me, incredible. The worst they're going to say is nothing. In all of my years of reaching out to people and all of the years where I have encouraged people to reach out to people, I know of one person who received a less than kind, ever so slightly rude or short reply to asking them to play on a game. And the number of people who are just like, yeah, sure, let's play. Yes, and silence is also an answer. Exactly, Rex. That's a very good point. So don't be afraid to go up. Don't be afraid to speak to people. And people, especially in this community, are very open and very kind and very generous. I got to meet... Okay, so here's the problem. My best friend when I worked at DeviantArt, and my coworker was Anjuli. Her mother was a first-generation Korean immigrant and named her after Anje, I believe is the name, but she misspelled it. So her name is Anjuli, and my brain always goes to Anjuli because that's the person I know, but I believe the performer's name is...
what's her name? From, Anje, I know from Overwatch.
Yes. And I always mess up her name because I reach for Anjuli and my brain's like, no, this is the name you know. I'm like, no, it's the other name. And it's like, this is close enough. And I'm like, brain, stop being so fucking white. Get it right. I think it's Anje. Something Thursday night taught me, though, is that some people are so kind and open and not at all changed by their relative fame, and some people are not. Yes, Anjali. Yo, I am so embarrassed every time because my brain's just like, Anjali, that's it. And I'm like, Her name is spelled with a dash. This person's name is not. Yes, people are not always what you think. And this is part of why it never hurts to go up to people. It never hurts to introduce. And it's really useful to read the room. But I got to introduce so many people. She is a delight on DesiQuest. She was a delight in Exandria Unlimited. She is just a full-on delight. I got to meet her, and I walked up just to say, like, I really, like, I'm a fan, right? I didn't want to say anything more. And she's like, have we worked together? I am so sorry. I don't remember your name. Yes, she was incredible in the Ravening War. And I'm like, no, I'm just a fan. And she's like, great. What do you do? Why are you at this party? Tell me all about you. And I'm like,
I was not prepared for this question.
my sibling in dice, do you know who you are?
Right.
And yes, not everyone, and yes, Candace makes a really great point. There have definitely been people where I've gone up to and they've been like,
Yep.
And again, just as when you reach out to ask people to play games with you, you meet someone at a party, no one owes you their time. And it might be a little hurtful. But if you're playing in this space, you do have to, I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but you do have to have at least a little bit of a thick skin. You have to be able to handle that. Spencer talked to us for a solid 10 and really didn't have to. Yeah, they're just, and the number of people who I just threw out, I'm like, I do charity games. And they're like, I love doing charity games. Give me your card. Like, can't promise when, but I love doing charity games. Give me your card. I will email you tomorrow. So again, don't be afraid to do that. Don't be pushy. But don't be afraid to say, I am a fan. I would love to work with you. Here's my info. And leave it at that. I got to meet...
Oh, and also, like, I want to say from the other side, it's not something I've experienced in the TTRPG space, but I have been in other professional settings where I or someone I'm with, someone who's rubbed us the wrong way and like done something they shouldn't have, and they get up and they start, and you just and then you keep it moving, and really, like, it may be painful in the moment, but really that's the kindest thing they could do, because the last thing you want is to have an entire room stop what they're doing and turn and look at you while you get dressed down for some stuff you absolutely did.
And if you remember, when we were, Candace, can I tell a story from one of your panels? Like, it's not you, it's an audience member. I will be honest, I was not there when this happened. It was from the Session 0 panel. And someone did the exact thing that we said not to do. They were talking about Session 0s and how to make them, better and more inclusive and more welcoming. And a certain individual who looks like me, who had parts that don't match mine, who was wearing a brand shirt for his own business, got to the Q&A. Yes, a vanilla male, a vanilla mailer stood up and said, during the Q&A, when it was very explicitly said, this is for questions, ask us questions. This guy got up and was like, great panel, really great points you brought up. I think you might be interested in this product, which I created. And I think you might want to look it over and see if you want to use it, wearing the shirt for the product that he was trying to pitch at a panel led by femmes, queers, people of color. Hi, all of those people. I, a straight white mailer, would like to show you the thing that I have generously created to solve your problems. Would you like to buy it? And give me free feedback. And all I got to say is, and again, I was not there, but I heard this account from multiple people. He is so lucky. He is so lucky that the moderator cut him off and kept it moving. Because if Cypher of Tyr had gotten that microphone, I have seen that dressing down personally, and I don't know that he would have ever recovered.
There would have been a little pile of ash where a human being once stood.
Candace says, I got a free deck, so you let me know and I'll pay to ship it to you. JD says, sounds like the same guy who thought he'd solve knitting for us old biddies. Didn't know anything about the internet. Yes, that was one of my favorite things to follow. And ooh, yes. Ooh, that was so much fun. And they were like, all of these knitters are like, cool, why do you keep saying it's only like little old grannies? You know that everyone in the military knits. And also, oh, you're going to make all this stuff for us. Where did you get your fiber arts degree? And they're like, our what? Oh, well, if you want to make it better, why don't you tell us what we can do better? No, sirs, I am not giving you free consultation. The wave of cold that came over me because I was like directly in front of Cypher.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, ooh.
I respect you, Candace. I respect your control because I know I would have rolled my eyes. Oh, Mallory, it took everything in me not to make some awkward sound. I was sitting directly beside the phone that was recording the panel. Oh. Oh. I'm sorry Nitty and Ravelry is gone, JD. But yes. Again, I'm not, like, I am sure, and we have learned, the more we've gone out, the more we've done, we have learned that there are definitely tricks of the trade that we don't know, that we are learning, that we are getting better at. But we've at least got some solid foundational advice. Oh, Nitty is awesome. Okay, good. Yeah, don't be that guy. It's not that hard to not be that guy.
It's not, and it's something I touched on earlier when I was doing my stream earlier. At the very least, have the presence of mind to avoid very drastic, very public consequences to your behavior. Like, yeah. I know it's a lot to ask for everyone to not be shitty. I wish I could ask this of the entire world, but at the very least, like, have some presence of mind. Don't ruin everyone's time by making this public disaster center upon you.
Yes, Chris says, that being said, I have a product to pitch you all. Product does the thing you want, and I know better than you. So everyone pay attention to me right now. Yes. And look, we all have moments of intense passion, right? And there was a person, if you watched our tarot panel, you don't have to, but if you did, one of the things we talked about was how you're not, like, there is a standard or conception that you're not supposed to buy your first deck. And that is an ancient tarot tradition. And we talked about why that tradition is. And we also, every single one of us spent a few minutes saying, hey, look, it's okay to buy your first deck, right? It just might take you longer to connect with it, to get what you want out of it, because the understanding, the reasoning behind it is, I'm paying money for this, so give me universe, give me. That is the reason, the logic behind don't buy your first tarot deck. It should be gifted. And again, we all went out of our way to say this is kind of the tradition. Jess talked about how she bought her first deck. I didn't buy my first deck, but I was like, gee, I would like this deck in particular. Here is a link to this deck in particular. Sure would be nice if this ended up in my Christmas stocking, which, is probably cheating, right? And I love this deck. This deck does great work for me. Now, as I said, I've been supposed to play the character that I bought this deck for in 3 games, and 3 times it is canceled because of TTRPG drama. So, maybe
the
that's
first
the
boss
universe.
of TTRPGs is scheduling.
Well, every time it was drama. It wasn't scheduling. It was...
I mean, it's a type of scheduling. And listen,
It's true.
in every niche community, the drama is hot, thick, and spicy. And as long as the drama doesn't affect me or anyone I care about,
Exactly.
it is my favorite thing.
Yep.
I love some piping hot tea.
I miss the golden days of Tumblr because I would just sit back and watch like who's fighting who this week, who have gone to war. Deck might be cursed. I maybe should give it to you, Cheese and Krakens. Maybe I should give you this deck, and then you can buy me the same deck. No, again, we're playing cards to the universe. And so like we all talked about this, and we did, we did say this is the traditional spot, and then we said like, hey, also we've all done it. Two of the three of us said we've also done this thing, and it has worked out. It took more time, games got canceled, but it worked out. And one person who was so passionate, just so passionate about tarot, tracked me down after the panel and was like, I want you to know that is not true. You can buy your first tarot deck, and starts telling me all of their accolades about all that they've done. And I'm like, and like how long they've been doing tarot and how much they know about it. And I'm like, yes, I agree. Traditional wisdom isn't necessarily true for everyone. The binary gender system is also a tradition, and it is definitely not for everyone. So no one is saying you're wrong. Thank you for being so passionate. I agree. So look, we all get there, right? We all get there. But keep in mind trying to lecture the experts. And look, I'm not an expert, but if the person's up on the stage, make sure that when you're lecturing them, it is from a place of pure passion and not a place of, I'm better than you. Especially if you are less of a minority than the person who is on stage.
Yeah.
You had a link to a thing for working with a deck you bought that you sent me. Do you want me to drop it in here? Oh, I will pull it out and put it I will put it in the video, but I'll see if I can find it again. There's a really cool spread that actually Richard, Deadeye, in chat taught me, which is an interview with your tarot deck. And tarot decks have different personalities. And it's really interesting to do that little interview. And yeah, like again, if we are talking about issues of race, if we are talking about issues of being a minority in the space, if we are talking about, any of those things, I'm gonna let Candace talk. Candace knows more about that than I do. You know why? Because this. And that's not saying that my experiences and my information is not valid, but also I've got quantifiably less of it because of this. So contribute, but also don't speak over and don't lecture the people who have more lived experience than you.
Deadeye says it's also rude to waste the audience's time self-promoting when other people had valid questions and came to get feedback from those panelists. And one thing that like incenses me, especially like in conversations in political spheres, especially when those conversations are about people's like livelihood and like just like their right to, when someone's right to exist and say right to medical care is quote unquote a debated topic, and it's like, how is this what incenses me endlessly is that we have experts for this. We have people that went to school and studied and then studied some more, and that has like read all the literature, conducted the research, and then they have like meta-analysis of research where they get a bunch of them together. Anyway, the point is there are experts we can ask, and instead of asking those experts, people just get to just continue to sit around and armchair it.
Yeah.
Like, not to make this a whole thing, but like abortion. No one asked a doctor. There are thousands of doctors in this country. There are hundreds of research specialists who are not just doctors, but are also like researchers who are experts on the social, cultural, and like personal impacts of it. Go ask them, and then let's do that.
Yes. And yes, Candace makes a good point. It's because people don't see panelists as experts. Some people think it's something anyone can do, or some of us get asked because we're popular, not because we're learned. True, but also there are people. David, how many things did we go to? Gaming industry events.
Oh.
Where I'm like, David, I'm doing the thing. Do you want to come?
Yep.
And the neckbeards walked past me and up to you and are like, so what do you do?
Yeah. Oh man.
And then you'd be like, that one, I'm the arm candy, that one. And they're like, no, what do you do? Because if you don't look exactly like them or have parts that match them, clearly you can't know more than them. Right. You can't be more successful than them. You can't be the reason. Your experience can't be the reason you're here. I'm also going to say, I'm going to call this individual out. I have blocked them, so I'm never going to see them again because I don't need to engage with angry, sad people unless I'm paid to. If you want me to interact with angry people on Twitter, gotta pay me.
Yeah.
And I had tweeted a thing and I'm like, me IRL, aggressively asexual. Me in TTRPGs, what if our characters kissed?
Just a smidge horny. Just the tiniest amount of horny.
Just. And I didn't even look at his profile picture, so I don't know what he looked like, but I can guarantee you he was a neckbeard. Replies and is like, one cannot be aggressively asexual because one cannot be aggressively a negative. I'm like, cool, white straight boy. Glad you know more about it than me.
Right. And like, also challenge accepted. Like, even if premise is true.
David has seen me be aggressively asexual.
Right. Like we're going to get a bow and arrow and a set of claws, and we're going to get super aggressive about it.
Yes, Rex. See, that was, I think the first, I don't know if it was the first or the second event I took you to, David, where you were like, no, I'm the arm candy. And I was like, this one, this is the good one. This one, we're keeping this one.
And just people underestimate how much emotion goes into learning things and knowing things. And until you have that fundamental understanding about yourself and about others, like that you don't, it's, I'm endlessly frustrated with like, I don't care in what shape it comes in. The sky could open up and a jelly bean can descend. And if it gives me the mathematical formula I need on this test, then I don't care. And I am bothered by people who are like, oh, well, you don't look like you know. And it's like,
or even better, David, but you're so articulate.
Oh, ooh, ooh.
I have been present when David got one of those.
And I was very well behaved. I didn't do nothing.
You were. You absolutely were.
Oh, Chris, I'm not going to get too heavy in this because I could make the next hour about this. But there's racism, and then there are people being racist who think that they're going out of their way to not be racist. And so
being even more racist in the process.
Right. And like, and it's something that I've chalked up to like NIMBY racism. Like the same people who are like, oh man, we need to come out for the queers, and we need to come out for black people, we need to come out for Asian Americans. Stop. stop Asian hate, but also like I don't want any of them in my neighborhood. It's like, but no. So if you say, "Oh, but you're so articulate," to a black person, that implies that one, it's a surprise and like this special thing that you've done. Um, and two, that on average on the ballots, black people can't. And also sort of singles you out as quote unquote one of the good ones. And it's like, look, I am articulate now with you. But the thing that you are sort of sidestepping and like side eyeing as you go around and reinforce the idea that we all talk like we're from the ghetto. Guess what? I am from the ghetto. I can and do talk like that. But I'm doing this for you so that you can understand. And yeah, just
I had a friend of a friend of Asian descent and was standing at a bus stop in LA talking to a friend, just having a conversation. This white woman walks up to her and goes, "Wow, your English is so good." And my friend, born and raised in America, looks at her and goes, "And your racism is so casual."
it's right up there with like, no, but where are you really from?
Oh God, where are you from? Yes, your racism is so casual. I have stolen that when other people say like backhanded things to my friends of color. I'm like, "Oh, and your racism is so casual." The number of times I get, "Oh, that's not racist." I'm like, "Oh, no, this both of us are telling you. A person who looks like you and a person who doesn't, that's racist."
And like, and it's doubly problematic because there are people who actually mean it in a not racist way. Like a friend of mine has said to black people in the past, "Oh my, you're really articulate." Now, she says this as someone who is extremely well educated, um, and meets a bunch of other really educated people. And for all of the educated people she knows, this person is particularly good at it. And then like 10 years later was like, "Oh my God, that is just the most racist thing. Did you?" But it wasn't about like the blackness. And there's a lot to be said about frames of reference and knowing where things come from. It's like
We're just talking about Riz.
right. Um or it's like the like an old white woman has called me a Negro to my face, and if I didn't have the proper like historical context of, oh no, when she was learning about these things, this is the way, this was the polite way to refer to black people at the time. And so she was being polite. And it would be rude and disingenuous of me to like snap on her when she was just being nice. And she just didn't know. But like, and you extrapolate that out, and if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going line dancing tonight, do you want to go?" And I'm like, "No, why not?" "Well, it's racist." And they're like, "Huh?" "No, it's not." And it's like, well, you don't really understand the history of why line dancing is a thing.
Square dancing.
Sorry, square dancing, not line dancing. Or like, like people don't know why cornflakes exist. And it's like, it's puritanical bullshit. And so like you drop these nuggets on people and they're like, "I did not know that Kellogg was," or it's like, you find out that Henry Ford was a card-carrying member of a particular political party in Germany, and people are like, "Huh? What?" And it's like, it puts so many things in perspective once you know, like, one of these little tidbits, and then you start adding these tidbits together, and it forms a picture. And like, a lot of people are well-meaning, but they don't got the picture.
And this is why it is very important for, no matter what groups you belong to, it is impossible for everyone to know everything. It is impossible for everyone to know every microaggression. It's possible for everyone to know all of the racist things, all of the homophobic things, all of the transphobic things. I was just talking to David about how, it was just Halloween not too long ago, and it's already December.
Yep.
And like, I love watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, but that's problematic. And that's not to say that it's, at the time it came out, it was not problematic, because it was, but it was also in a very different time when that was such an unacceptable thing. That was so far out there and so radical that I knew straight dudes in England who were like, I'm putting on fishnets and going to the Rocky Horror. And they would never otherwise associate with the queers, right? But they were like, oh, Rocky Horror, this is so far out there that I can engage with it. That context for our society is now so long gone that, like, my Zoomer friends, I'm like, okay, so it's going to take me a lot to explain this to you. You're going to have to watch Milk. And then we're going to have a talk. And then after you've watched Milk and you've gotten through to depression, that we're still fighting the same battles that Harvey Milk, I forget his first name, was fighting. Get over that depression. Then watch Rocky Horror. We're going to have a talk before. I'm going to explain a little bit more context. And that, again, it's things get very complex. It is very difficult. And I have seen, I'm not going to call the person out, but I've seen a person in chat make a joke with no concept, no experience, absolutely no understanding that it was a problematic statement, a problematic stereotype, came on screen, apologized, made it clear what the intent was that they didn't know, and then collected themselves because they were distraught that they had done something unkind and carried on with the game like a pro. And that's what you have to do, no matter what it is. Like, there's so much respect in that. I didn't know. I hecked up. I'm sorry. I will never do it again. So much respect was born in that moment because I had a person tell me, I am a woman, therefore I cannot be misogynistic. I've heard, there's all sorts of things that people accept, that people are like, I belong to this minority group, and that means I am allowed these excuses. And so for people to say, I didn't know, I hecked up, I won't do it again, I'm gonna do better, that is pure respect. And when people do that, give them respect, give them forgiveness. If they do it again, that's when you start. That's when you start that.
And like, and another thing to remember is that, like, people who, so like, there is a concerted effort from the powers that be, whether it be in this country or others, that you don't know about all the shady shit that happened. Like, you can talk to someone in West Virginia and they're like, oh no, the army showed up and started like shelling people and shooting people, like just in the street, just because. And if you don't have like a very specific interest, or if you don't stumble upon that, then you wouldn't know. But also, like, there are people in minority groups, like, and I can speak for Black people, where they don't know. Like, there's stuff that's specifically not taught in schools, and not all of us, like, everybody has like some sort of special interest. Not everybody's special interest is the history of race in the United States. And so like when you talk to people who are in a marginalized community or have a interest in like social equality, don't expect them to know everything. Like those people, like you're not just born with the knowledge, and there's a stigma, uh, at least like in the Black community, about sharing too much because so much of it is awful and traumatic that you don't want to like crush a 6-year-old. Like I still remember, there are many things I don't remember from being a kid. I still remember at 5 years old telling my dad I wanted to grow up to be a police officer and the look on his face. And I didn't realize until like 20 years later that he, in that moment, he's like, all right, do I tell this kid now that police aren't safe? Or do I let him like live in this moment and have it for a while and break the news to him later?
And within the queer community, there are very interesting divides. If there are kind of the elder queers who, the people who are now are elder queers, they didn't have elder queers when they were, the younger generation's age because AIDS wiped them all out. There was a whole generation of people who at late 20s were suddenly the elder queers because the entire older generation were gone by and large. And they use in that group a kind of like the Rocky Horror thing. They use words that the younger generation is like, we don't use that word, right? We don't use that word. That's not okay. And these elder queers are like, you can lecture me when you've gone through half the shit I've been through.
Right.
And there's
Come
often
take it from me. I dare you.
Yeah, this conflict because it's like you grew up in a place where you could be out and loud, and that's not to say that you didn't struggle coming out and you didn't face opposition, but you didn't face it the way that we did. And we have fought and we have survived and we lost all of the people who would have mentored us and taught us. So take the word from me, because those people, that word that I just used, they taught me because they weren't having the sex that transmitted AIDS. They taught me how to do my makeup. They taught me that is a word. It's like family is no longer the word that's used for the queer community. Because once upon a time that had so much weight. Because you couldn't say what you were. So you'd look at someone and say, are you family? And you were seen. And it was so incredibly important. And things have gotten better. But we also lost some things because of that. It's a very interesting, this got very, very heavy and very serious. As I said, I'm so grateful to have the friends who supported me when I came out as gender fluid. I don't think I would have had the courage otherwise. It's, again, not saying that anyone this day and age doesn't have struggles and doesn't have challenges. But it's not, again, I struggled for a very long time, even to come out as ace. I came out as ace, and I was told by the queer community in no uncertain terms, you don't suffer like we do, so you're not part of the community. I said, okay, fair. And then I got older and learned more and processed, and I was like, no. And I still have imposter syndrome about that, but that's a whole other. Not being queer enough, being afraid that you are not queer enough is the most common experience in the queer community. Go, David.
I mean, the number, and like this is particularly relevant to like our communities, the number of Black people who have wrestled with, well, like, am I Black enough because I do blank? And like,
you're
I
either
remember
not Black enough or you're so well spoken.
Right. And like, and Kay like watched me have the realization of how plugged in the Black community in the United States has been with Chinese and Japanese and Korean culture going back to World War II. And so like my interest in those cultures isn't like some weird alien thing that makes me different from other people, but actually more closely aligns me um to my communities, like the Wu-Tang Clan, the rap group that based their whole identity over uh, a Chinese monastery. Like, yeah. So like, there's an imposter syndrome even when it is impossible to avoid being associated with that community. Like, how can I be black, unquestionably black? Like everyone can see, like, oh, he's, but also not feel black enough. That's just it's just.
Hmm.
But that's how communities work.
Yeah. And some people don't want the label, right? And it all is complicated because people are complicated and binaries suck. And just be kind to other people. Hey, Kato, how are you doing? We are probably close to wrapping up. David, do you have any
Yep.
final thoughts on this? Because otherwise, I'm going to bring it back to I saved the best for last.
I want to circle back to my original point of there are experts, whether it is about medicine and medical procedures, whether it is about racism and discrimination. You will hear people talk in a vacuum and argue in a vacuum with no facts, with no data, and they will try to argue that this is an unquantifiable thing, that you can't have concrete evidence. And there are experts who are loaded up with data and facts and research that unequivocally proves what is right and what is true and what is false, what is right and what is wrong. Seek out the actual experts about things. Yeah.
And also, if someone says they are a thing, trust them.
Yeah.
People know
How are
themselves
you going to
better.
know?
Right. Like the number of people, and again, part of the reason, and I said that, Chris, Ace is part of the community. You were part of it, and I'm sorry you were treated that way. I experienced the same thing in West Hollywood, of all places. And I know I'm not going to call anyone out, but I have spoken to other Ace people who have straight up said I've had more trauma coming out as Ace, and more intrusive questions coming out as Ace than I did coming out as gay, coming out as dating a trans person, as, any of that. The number of people who I would say, hey, I'm Ace, and they would start asking exact details of my sexual history. What have you done? What have you not done? Well, if you haven't done X, how do you know you're not? Yeah. Do you want to sleep with a dog?
Gross. That also illegal.
Because sleeping with a dog is exactly as enticing and attractive to me as sleeping with you. So that's my answer.
I mean, I met some dudes like that.
And also, as Salty said, when we were discussing this, no one is asking, how do you know you're not straight if you haven't slept with someone of the same gender?
And I realized or remembered something about like pronouns and people who are trans, and you don't have to be trans to change your name. Mm-hmm. I know multiple people who have changed their name as an adult for one reason or another. But also, in addition to that, people refer to me by all sorts of different things. I get David, I get Dave, I get D. A dude calls me Dawe. I don't remember why. I can't
Ducky. See you as Dave.
Right?
Can't. I don't get it.
Right? I get, and then I went to school with a guy named William, and like in his family, like dad calls him William, mom calls him Will, one of his siblings calls him Billy. We knew him as Billy. Another Bill. Like they all mean him. So if you can call William Billy, if you can call Raphael Ted, And
If
if
you
you
can
could,
call them the artist formerly known as Prince,
right, if you could look at me and refer to me as my gamer tag, then you can look at someone else and would they introduce themselves and they say, "Hi, my name," then you use that. When they say my pronouns are, you use that. And in addition to that, there are tons of people who, like, this week they're like, "Hi, my name is Bob," and then you know Bob for a while, and then after a while Bob is like, "Hey, I'm Mary," and it's like, "Okay, hi Mary." Like, it's that simple. Why is
and it is work. But again, if you can change what you call them to the artist formerly known as Prince, if
Yep.
you can remember their character's name in a TTRPG and their name, you can do it. I promise. Yes, it's going to take some work. It's especially hard if you've known the person for a very long time. But if you care about them and you're a decent human being, listen to them and try. And if you sincerely mess up, they're going to forgive you. They're probably going to gently correct you and move on. And don't have the meltdown because you got it wrong.
Right. Just
That is perfect. Dead name died. Perfect. So,
and also, if somebody has a dead name, don't go. I've been very fortunate that people I've met who have switched names for a variety of reasons have shared their dead name with me. And again, names I will take to my grave. In one case, name I have actually forgotten. But not everybody has, and precisely 0 of them had to.
and also don't ask a person what their dead name is. It seems to be a very white woman thing. And I don't know why white women are obsessed with knowing the dead name. Let it die. Let it die. That's not the way to get into the circle of trust. So I want to share one last thing that I was given at PAX Unplugged. And it is very dear and special to me. And I can't wait for you all to see it. I was so afraid it was going to be damaged on the trip home, but it was not. Leslie built, bought, and custom printed, brought and custom printed minis for every character in the Emergency Power podcast and brought them to PAX Unplugged. We hope we were going to have time to maybe paint them. I don't think that's going to happen, or it didn't happen. But there is time now. And one of the amazing connections I got to make at PAX Unplugged, I have been, internet raid friends with Painting Pirate for a very long time. Painting Pirate lives near-ish to me, and it is an incredible mini painter. And again, we talked about don't be afraid to reach out to people, right? I had a friend who, my friend Anya, was working at Eldritch Foundry at the convention and was looking for talented painters to come and paint minis. And I said, I don't know this person well, but maybe reach out to Pirate. And she did. And I finally tracked Pirate down on the last day of the convention. And the first thing he said was like, thank you so much. That was a highlight of the convention for me. I am so excited to get to work with them. So not all, and this is a really important thing of networking that certain people do intrinsically and certain people do not. And if you do not do it intrinsically, I cannot encourage you enough to train yourself to do it, because this is how I have gotten far in my career. This is how I have ended up in special thanks in a video game I did not work on, in the credits section, because I'm like, oh, you do blank. I know you need a person who does blank. I know them. Let me connect you. Not every networking opportunity you take has to be help me do a thing with me. The more you can make connections and then connect other people to other people. Matt frickin' made me teary because I am tired. And when I get tired, I get, it's easier to get an emotional reaction on me, but sent me the nicest message after PAX Unplugged and straight up said, someone told him that they were excited to meet him because they'd only heard about good things about him from me. And those connections mean so much more than walking up to someone and saying, will you be in my game? Walking up to someone and saying, or telling someone this person is a good person. I've seen their streams. They are not going to drop a slur on your live stream at the panel. This person is vetted. They do the thing you need it to do. Maybe reach out. Makes such a difference. And genuinely, if you help people get those connections, if you help people get opportunities, expecting nothing in return, you will get so much back. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some bad players. There are some bad actors who will absolutely take advantage, but I'm not saying keep a tally, because don't keep a tally, but it's easy to feel when people are taking and not giving. And it might take you a while to figure out that they're taking, not giving. But you know what happens when you give to a person who doesn't take? Other people see that you are giving, and they notice when you stop. And they notice when that person is not giving back. I have had people reach out to me and be like, you're doing a lot with this person. Are they taking care of you? Do you want to come do a thing with me? I will give you, more opportunities than you had. And again, I'm not saying play a game, be genuine, but the best marketing, the best networking you can do. So many people think networking is a dirty word. The best networking you can do is, I am a fan. Here is not in a creepy way, not in a, I followed you home, I know your favorite things, but in a, I've watched your material, I know what you do. I'm not coming up to a Magic the Gathering player and asking, what's your favorite D20? Which again, may be a valid question, probably not the most valid question. If you do that, if you are, hey, Jess, we were talking about your panel earlier. Yes,
Yep.
If you do that, if you reach out to people without expectations, you will get so much back. Your networking, your marketing will be so much better. And then you might meet incredible people like the Emergency Power Podcast who will custom make you and then print you your Starfinder character so that you can paint it. And I don't know which tarot cards are going to be in Soul's hand, but that rainbow holograph is going to be real fun to. Yeah, favorite D20 is a spin down, but yes, it is cake. She's the problem. So my voice is almost gone. We are at time, but chat, do you have any favorite memories or favorite stories from PAX that you would like to share? Richard, are you okay with my sharing the Irish pub, what you did for us at the Irish pub? Because that was one of my favorite bonding moments. And I would love to just share that little story. Type it up, Chris. Like I said, Tyran surprised me with the legs up. There's a lot of memes you got to catch up on, David.
Okay.
Not just roll ass. It's not just roll ass. There's also legs up. There's a lot. I don't want to show you what I'm wearing on my legs, so I'm not lifting my leg. That high. So Richard, we all went to, it was on the second night, and it was before Jess and I were on the tarot card panel. And we were both a little bit nervous, and we kind of needed, we needed to eat, and we needed to calm our nerves. So it's me, Salty Queer, Cake, and then our 3 incredible EPP people. And we all order food. We all sit down. We're ready to order. And Richard's like, so here's the thing. Now keep in mind, Cake and Emily met the EPP crew for the first time, like a day and a half before this. And Richard's like, I have been talking for a really long time about taking the entire EPP cast out to a whiskey tasting. He turns to them and he says, I consider you both honorary crew. May I buy you whiskey flights and explain to you what the whiskeys are, what they taste like, all of this, all the histories behind these whiskeys. And while we were drinking, he's describing the whiskeys. I'm having a couple sips and then handing them off to someone else because I had to be on stage because I'm like, I can't get sloppy yet. But we also did some tarot pulls to talk about. He taught me a really cool 4-card spread instead of a 3-card spread with 2 cards for the future, high road and low road. And it was just so it was so precious to me that, again, I merged these 2 friend groups, and it could have gone great and it could have gone terribly. But not only did the 2 friend groups get along, they adopted each other and they took care of each other. And I will never forget that night sitting in an Irish pub, drinking whiskey and reading tarot. And thank you to everyone who was part of my PAX. I am sorry if I missed you. I am sorry if I was at an 11 for about 2 days. The slider does not go high enough for where I was
Right.
at PAX. Like it was a lot.
Doesn't go into triple digits.
Because I just wanted so much for these incredible people to meet all the incredible people I knew at PAX. And if I missed you this year, I am so sorry. I cannot wait to meet you next year, and I cannot wait to play more games with you.
Chris
okay.
says, so I was with a friend looking at these cute dragons, and they bought 2 dragons, one for them and one for me. The vendor liked us and gave us a bonus baby hatchling, and within 5 seconds, the gold dragon fell from their shoulder and shattered. Oh no! We were also sad and devastated. Rip Kintsugi.
Oh no!
That sucks.
Oh. Richard has probably been reading tarot longer than either Jess or I, so saying that you got insight from us means a whole lot. I am so lucky that I get to roll dice and play games and tell stories with so many people, some on stream, some privately. Yes, we will have to spend I need like a non-convention, because for the next time we meet up, the next EPP meeting needs to not be at a convention. We need to have here's just us in a cabin. And I need a non-convention meetup where it's just every tabletopper get together. There's no booths, right? There are some featured actual plays, but everyone just get together and just talk. I feel like that's what we need, but there's no money in that, so we can't do that. But I feel like I feel like PAX was a week and a half long, and also I blinked and it was over. Yeah, poor Adam. But yes. If anyone else has a PAX story they would like to share, now is the time to type it up as we wrap it up and I show off my beautiful little soul one more time. And, spoiler alert if you haven't listened to the 3rd season of Emergency Power, but, it's me. You're probably not surprised. What can I say? Just as my favorite moment was laughing like crazy, rolling our goblin characters and sitting on the floor near Mothman. It was near Crab God. God, we laughed so hard. We rolled ass. Goblin is our safe word. And, yeah, the inside jokes will live forever. It says there needs to be an industry-only meetup, talk ideas, introduce each other, live life. Yeah, there was just too much. Quite literally, y'all. This isn't even all of them. These are the business cards I walked away from that I just had stacked up for my suitcase. There's more in my travel bag because I haven't unpacked the travel bag yet. Wow. I have so many emails to send and I'm so tired.
I bet.
With that, any final questions for us, David? Making Leslie laugh is the best.
Who had the best coffee?
I'm not gonna lie. I get to that point. I get to a convention, and I am there. I am having coffee for utility and nothing else. Last year, our hotel was centrally isolated from coffee. There was no coffee within a 0.5-mile radius around us. I had to go out. It was freezing last year, and it was raining. I went out to try to get coffee and milk. The Wawa was closed. I told a service worker that the Wawa was closed. She told me that I ruined her day by telling her that. Then I got hit by a bird and returned home soaking wet and had spilled milk inside my umbrella. This year, literally across the street was a Dunkin' Donuts. So every morning I would get up, I would go across, small latte, extra shot, done. I didn't even know the taste of it. It was not being consumed for flavor.
I mean, America runs on Dunkin'.
It was on a schedule when it comes. Yes, here's the thing. I am very caffeine sensitive, and if I don't have caffeine, I have to have caffeine at a time so it will wear off by the time it's time for me to sleep. Dunkin' sucks anywhere south of PA. We had one right across the street. I availed myself. Did Kay destroy anyone with precision kindness this pack? Oh, I destroyed Adam. Well, we collectively as a group destroyed Adam. I don't think Adam has recovered. Adam had a very rough trip, but I think and hope we made it okay. And again, it was not a solo effort. Everyone there, including Cake and Emily, immediately went, oh, this is ours. This one belongs to us, and we will all collectively take care. And that was a joy. And we collectively gifted someone their first tarot deck. And apparently that tarot deck is not hecking around. Has thrown some hard truths. So that's great. But yes, that was still an hour and 40, 50 minutes and was still the TLDR. There was so much we skipped over. Check out Goblin with a Fat Ass. It's a free 2-page TTRPG. It is hilarious. Yes, you should do a pull now that you're home. And I found the creator of this pin. I didn't tag them because I wasn't sure, because I bought this from a booth of a different name. They found my photo of this and messaged me and it's like, I want to do a Kickstarter for more of these later. And I'm like, please reach out. We like these. We want more of these. What are you going to do with these? So yes. It was great. Thank you to everyone who shared space with me. I told this to the Emergency Power crew, but I'm going to say it to all of you, whether we met in person or you're hanging out with me here in chat. There is nothing more valuable than your time. So thank you sincerely for spending your time with me.
And thank you very much for taking care of my K, because it would have financially ruined me to fly across the country and commit great acts of violence. I would never financially recover.
All right. So thank you, Finbin13, for the follows. Thank you, Zycram, for resubscription. You have been subscribed for, hold on, it's not showing me. It's not showing me. 42
the longest.
months. Thank you so much. As I always say, no one owes us anything. But all of your support is seen and noticed and so very appreciated. For those of you who haven't heard, we have been selected to be part of the boost program at Live Space. We have the contract signed. We've gotten the payments set up. I've got emotes added, but I have to just finish a little bit of stream setup. But we're going to be soon streaming 3 places: Twitch, YouTube, and
Live Space.
Live Space. Live Space, the subscriptions are the exact same amount as on Twitch. But we are in a program where instead of, if you subscribe through, in case you don't know, if you subscribe through Twitch, we keep $2.50 of the $5 fee, $5 cost. We've been elected into a program where from December till December of next year, we keep 100%, minus like a little bit. We keep $4.65 of every $5 that you subscribe to us on LiveSpace. So nothing has to change. Subscribe where you're comfortable, but if you would like to support us even more, that's a great place. They use Stripe, so you can use that. Like that is you can judge your financial safety based on the use of Stripe. That is the only thing that they use. So they don't take your number, Stripe, your credit card number. Stripe does. If you are willing and able, follow us on YouTube. Give a thumbs up to any video you watch. It really helps us. We are very close to monetization on YouTube, so that also helps. And that is my heavy-handed pitch because I need to get better about asking people for that. So thank you for sitting through that.
Kato, links for Live Space are not up, but will be up shortly. And if you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord so you can keep track of all this stuff, because it's easier to look at a page.
Yes. Oh yes, JD. If it's a video you watched here, let it run while you go out or something. We do need some watched hours. We need a couple more subscribers. And the more likes and or comments we get, the more it feeds the algorithm, the more likely other people are to find us. Anything you are able or willing to do, we appreciate. But again, you owe us nothing. So thank you so much for even being willing. As a reminder, save the date, December 17th. It's going to be fun. I am very excited. And I think that's all my voice can handle tonight. Yes, like, subscribe, ring that bell. DC Lasser is playing Mario Wonder. Cryptic Studios is doing Star Trek Online. That bronze girl is just chatting. What do you think, David?
And Painting Pirate is also.
Oh, is Pirate on?
Yep.
Let's. I think we're gonna.
It looks like a fundraiser.
Oh, even better. Yes.
Okay.
So, I think we are going to go raid Painting Pirate. Thank you all again for hanging out. That's all. Wednesday, I'm at Goblin Cave TV doing Circus. Thursday, I'm streaming probably Super Mario RPG, maybe Cattails. I don't know. David's doing Disco Elysium on Friday.
Yep.
And yeah, save the date, December 17th. I'm going to stop talking.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Thank you all. Happy PAX.